Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Anna and Kevin and Unlocking Our Lives. Today, we wanted to talk about just stress, stress relief, taking a break, what it means to you, and recognizing, the signs of burnout, um, taking breaks that make a difference, that are actually going to have an impact on you. I'm not talking about like, running to the lunchroom and getting a coffee or something like that. I'm talking about like literally stopping what you're doing and getting away from where you are so that you can actually have that time to break and regenerate and refocus and get yourself back on track. And this doesn't relate to people who are working. This relates to everybody. It doesn't matter what you're doing in your life. Like if you're a housewife, a mother, and you're at home and you've got kids, and sometimes that job is busier than a CEO's job, right? Like you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with all these appointments, doctors, sporting events, plays, especially this time of year. It's the busiest time of year aside from Halloween, I think. And Christmas, it's preparation, it's family, it's organizing events, it's organizing dinners, it's organizing your kids. Your kids are probably, if they're in school, they're in some kind of activity that's pertaining to the holiday season, not necessarily Christmas, because it's different for everybody. And we understand that. But then that in itself is somewhat stressful. It's trying to keep track of all the things that you're supposed to do and not do and say and not say. So, it can be very stressful for some people. So that balancing your home life, your work life, your job, your partner, your spouse, whatever it is. So all of those things. So we're going to just touch base on all of those things. And again, as always, if you have any questions or comments or ideas, just put them in the comment section below. We'd be happy to touch base. And if you have questions, feel free to ask us. Both Emma and myself are coaches. I'm a performance coach. Emma is a confidence coach, and we're always willing to help and share our knowledge and share what we can do to help you have a better life. And that's what we're all about. So, good morning and welcome, Emma. That was like the longest introduction in the world.
That
How
was
are you
a
doing?
long introduction, but it also helped me to see how much we do and how important this conversation is. So, yeah, how are you
Mm-hmm.
doing, Kevin?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. Actually,
Good.
very good. It's yeah, like what, 2 weeks to Christmas, which
Mm,
is crazy. It's a little bit, it's not so crazy for me now because I don't really have kids around and stuff like that. But when it was, like, you have your children and a spouse, and it's busy and there's lots of stuff going on. And I don't know, like, does your husband work during the holidays? Is that something he's able to pick up because he's a pilot?
he can take it off, and he has taken it
Yeah.
off.
Oh,
So
that's
we
good.
always spend Christmas and the New Year together. Because, when
Great.
you've got kids, it's a big deal for the kids, for both mom and dad to be
Yes.
around. Yeah, we're
Yeah, for
always around for
sure.
Christmas. And it is a busy time. It's a jolly time. Some of the business is fun in a way that I still enjoy going to my child's school activities. My
Yeah.
daughter is in the school choir, or she might be doing a reading in church, or
Yeah.
things that she needs her parents still to be
Hmm.
cheering her on and smiling at her, supporting her and encouraging her. So it's a nice time of year to put a little bit of a pause in work and go and show up for the kids. And as you know, I love cooking, so Christmas is also a time for me to speak through my love language, which is, um, creating a nice atmosphere at home and sitting at the table together
Hmm.
and hosting and entertaining. But yes, it is a lot. It is a lot combining it with work, combining it with maybe like things that help you to wrap up so you could take that time off
Hmm.
and time off guilt-free. But most of all, the lead up to the end of the year is such a big mad rush that we're already tired, right? It's been,
Yeah.
best part of 50 weeks, which is exhausting. We're already tired. And then
Hmm.
we do extra things during this period, which leads can very often lead to burnout or overwhelm
Yeah.
and the need for deep rest. So I'm happy that we can
Yeah.
schedule this conversation.
For sure. And again, it's like it's that thing where you want to celebrate and stuff. And if you tend to have a few drinks and stuff like that, you're just actually increasing your burnout level even more. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing that, but I'm just saying that you have to be aware of the things that you're actually doing that are contributing even more so to your burnout and stuff. So I have a couple of questions, not necessarily related to stress, but can be stressful because we have to do it. So do you do a lot of baking over the holidays? Like do you bake like cookies and
I don't bake at all. I cook loads,
really?
but I'm not a
Oh,
baker.
interesting.
I'm not a
I
baker
love
at all.
baking.
I do a little bits here and there, but to be honest with you, most of the time I cheat. I
Yeah.
buy the packet ones with the mixture, just add milk, just add water, just add eggs.
Nice.
And then I dress it very pretty. And here's one I made
Yeah,
earlier, kind of thing. Yeah, but
that's
I don't
good.
bake.
I normally do a lot of stuff at Christmas, and then this year I'm not because just whatever, just because of what's happened. And then recently we had a dinner, about 10 people, and every year when we do this, like I always have tons of stuff made for everybody, and I have a big gift bag for them, right? And they were like kids. They're like, "What what's up with the no bat? Like, where's the stuff?" Right? And I go, "I haven't done anything this year." Right? And they're like, "Are you kidding me?" And then they're like, "Okay, so when can we meet again? Like, what's the next event so that we can get our Christmas
Yeah.
cookies, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, but that means that I have to do that." And they're like, "Still no point." So now that's what I've been doing. So like, the other day I was baking, I made these banana banana cookies. One, because I don't normally make banana cookies, but I went grocery shopping on the weekend and I bought bananas at this one store, and then I went to a different store and I bought more bananas. So like we're Bananarama.
Two
So I
sets.
had to start making banana muffins, banana cookies, banana bread. Um, but I do make this one thing, and this is what I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to post this recipe at the end of our video because it's super delicious and really super easy to make. It's millionaire bars, right? So it's like shortbread
Oh,
bottom, caramel in the middle, covered with chocolate. So
wow.
good. It's so good.
I
And I'm
love
going to put the
anything
recipe.
caramel, so I want the recipe for
Yeah,
that for sure.
I know. It's going to be in this. If you watch this video afterwards, you'll get the recipe.
And it's called
There
Millionaire
you
what? I
go.
like the name as well.
Millionaire bars. Yeah,
Millionaire
because there's a
bars.
million
Okay.
dollars worth of cavities after. Um,
Mm.
okay, so sorry to take you off topic, but let's talk about the basic burnout situation. Like what are some of the signs of burnout, and how do you go about noticing those things like before it's too late, before stuff starts happening? I mean, I know of a few definite signs. When your productivity actually plummets, that's a very good sign that you're heading for burnout. When you're disengaged and you're not really looking to do extracurricular things, or you find being invited to go to something that you know is going to be great and you think it's a chore, that's not a good sign, right? So, what are some of the things like for you to recognize burnout when you're like think back to your clients or people that you've dealt with in the past? What are some of the things that you've seen, and what are some of the things that people should watch out for?
Some of the most common signs of burnout is low energy and lack of motivation. You're not
Yeah,
inspired, you're not motivated, you don't want to be creative, you have a block, if you want to produce something, you can't seem to complete a project.
yeah,
Focus, your concentration, lack of focus, lack of concentration, just general disinterest and feeling withdrawn. Like you're
yeah,
literally empty. You're running on empty, feeling a sense of depletedness. There's no energy to do anything.
yeah,
And even after what would be a good night's sleep, say you slept 6, 7, 8 hours, you still
yeah,
wake up feeling tired.
yeah,
You might be reading a paragraph and nothing goes in. I've just read this paragraph 3 times and I don't even remember it. Or it's difficult to
mm,
hold your concentration and attention and focus on one thing to completion. These are all signs of burnout. And then maybe you might notice signs of irritability. The slightest
yeah,
thing trigger you, you get mad,
yeah,
maybe, you know, you're screaming at your kids or
yeah,
um, any conversation at work feels like it's too much.
yeah,
They're all
yeah. I
signs
get
of
that.
burnout. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I think.
any other meeting that comes up, it just all feels a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I know. I
Mm.
remember when I was working in an environment where it was like this time of year was always very stressful. There's a lot of things that people wanted to wrap up for the end of the year and things like that, right? And it was always like it was one of those places that every Friday of a long weekend, somebody had some deadline item that you had to work on. So which basically, like, if you were that type of person, you would spend your long weekend working on that item, knowing that come Monday when it was when they expected it, or Tuesday when they expected it, nothing would be done with it. And then 3 weeks later, that same item would come back to you to work on. So it was like pointless, right? It's like
Yeah.
one of those things where people just make stress for other people. So you have to really look at the signs of that, and you have to really look at it, like, sort of monitor what's going on and see if you can, actually schedule your commitments so that they're not creating stress for you, right? Like, don't try and cram everything into the last week of the month if you know they got to be done. So you want to just kind of spread that out wherever possible. It's not always possible because you always have somebody above you that's going to be kiboshing your little schedule, right? But
Mm.
but I think one of the first times I noticed when working with a group of people, like in an office environment or whatever, it was always the irritability factor that people, things that you would normally ask them for. Yeah, sure, Kevin, I can get that. And then if you ask them, and they're just like, I can't do it. I don't have time for that, right? So you kind of know, like, okay, maybe this person's like a little bit overworked. And then,
Yeah.
if you're working with people like that and you see that happening, like, why don't you just try and, you know, see if you can help them
Mm.
alleviate some of that pressure. And that not only helps you um, feel better about you, it helps kind of eliminate a lot of the negative attitude that's going around the office and things like that. So that kind of a contribution, I think, is really good, um, because because nobody is good when they're emotionally burnt out or physically burnt out. Like, the whole thing just becomes a mess of non-productivity, and you end up getting nowhere with it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people in positions that can make a difference do make a difference because they're not concerned with that. It's always about the bottom line, and it's always about, like, they would rather see somebody leave than correct the situation, thinking that
Mm.
it's going to make it better. And then in the end, that organization suffers more because they've lost key people and haven't been able to replace them with sufficient replacements,
Mm.
right? Not that there's
Yeah.
not other people around to do that, but training, development, learning a new job, things like that. So in the long run, it doesn't really pay off. So
Mm.
as an employer, as a person, as a spouse, as a partner, watch for these signs and reach out to see if you can help somebody get through those situations, right? Do you think?
Um, yeah, absolutely. The other issue also, Kevin, is that most of the time you and I coach high achievers, and as a high achiever trait, they're not aware of their achievements.
Yeah.
And therefore, they keep adding to the pile and keep taking on more responsibilities. And because they're not able to celebrate their achievements, they think that there's
Mhm.
an issue with the worthiness. And so they have to keep doing more to prove themselves,
Yeah.
to shine above the rest, or to go beyond the greatest expectations of their role. And that naturally
Hmm.
would lead to burnout. And that means also that people with such a trait are not able to ask for help, right? It's very
Exactly.
important to be able to ask
Yeah.
for help and to know what your limits are. And when you're at your limit, to be able to also put boundaries in place so that you're not accepting any kind of work that you know is not going to go anywhere. It's not necessarily a
Yeah.
priority to the company's uh, priorities, but you take it on anyway because you need to prove
Yeah.
yourself by Monday morning that I
Exactly.
can submit this piece of work, that it's not going to be used in any way, shape, or
Hmm.
form. So I think the more self-aware we become, the more we build our self-esteem and become confident that we're capable of doing a hell amount more. It's just also important to be able to validate ourselves and to know that we're
Hmm.
worthy, we're enough, we can take space, we can
Yeah.
ask for help, we can delegate, we can collaborate. There are many ways
Hmm.
of being successful, but it doesn't have to be with a superhero armor where you're suffering in silence and struggling.
Hmm.
And particularly for working mums, working mums want to be amazing at their job and they want to be amazing at home. And very often you can't do both. You need to be able to ask for help.
Hmm.
You need to be able to
Yeah.
maybe ask, can I work from home a couple of days a week because I want to do this? Because essentially, as a working mum, you have two jobs. You have your day job, your home life job, and then your office job. And then
Hmm.
also in the home, I don't think a woman needs to do everything. It's okay to delegate some things to your partner. It's okay
And your
to
kids.
raise your kids to a level where they
Yeah.
can take some responsibilities. Now I'm training my kids to at least clean your room, change your own sheets,
Yeah. Yeah.
your own towel off the floor, because it's also good for them, right? It's also good for their
Yeah,
development.
absolutely. Hmm.
And just to create a community where of like-minded women who you can
Yeah,
support each other. Maybe
for
can you
sure.
pick up my child after school on a Thursday because I'm working late, and then maybe on the day that you finish earlier, you can also lend support. So
Yeah.
I think it's about coming together with your friends and family and your colleagues and just understanding that if you lean into your own power to ask for help, you don't need to get to the place
Yeah.
where you're burnt out. You can, know what's peak performance for you
Yeah.
and to be able to also enjoy life, right? It's not
Yeah.
about struggling through life, it's about thriving through life. And thriving through life is being able to be playful, to be creative, to be fun, to share, and not carry all the roles and responsibilities and burdens
Right.
alone.
Yeah. And you touched on something there about people in higher positions, like management positions, they actually sometimes won't admit that they're actually struggling with burnout or stress and things like that. So that you I, with that, you also mentioned later about self-awareness and things like that. So you have to do that. Like it's really quite selfish to take everything upon yourself when you know that the result of you doing so is affecting other people, right?
Mm.
Like you can't think that that's okay to continue doing that, and you're having an effect, a negative impact on the people around you. You really have to be aware of that. So that's something that, you know, just keep in the back of your head that when you think you're being Superman, you might be, and you might be okay. It's kind of like, I'm okay pulling the ladder, right? Meanwhile, there's like five other people still waiting for the ladder. You're like hauling it up, right? So
It,
let's try not to do
it's
that.
counterproductive. It's totally counterproductive.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly, exactly. Um, so I get. I mean, it's kind of obvious why people need to take breaks, and but what are let's talk about some of the benefits of actually doing that, and how like taking a break from things can actually be a really good reset for you and help you to refocus and reorganize and regroup, and actually taking time to speak with your colleagues and speak with your team, speak with your family, whatever situation you're in, to say, listen, like this is where I'm at, and I need to scale back a little bit because I'm not able to manage all of this stuff that's going on, right? And then just sort of like, how can we work together to make that happen and make that work so that everybody's still feeling satisfied and taken care of, but me too, right? Like, how
Mm.
do I need to take care of me as well by doing something. So how do we do that? What are some of the things that you can benefit from making that happen?
Mm. When I coach clients who are in burnout, the first and most important thing for me to address is to highlight to the client that life happens in seasons, Kevin. And there is a season where you're going to feel like this is harvest. There's a season that it's going to feel like I'm in winter. Winter looks like a depression,
Yeah,
anxiety, burnout, tiredness. There's It doesn't always have to be activities and events which got too much. You will find yourself in a season where I have no energy. I'm knackered. I'm exhausted. And when you
yeah,
find yourself in that season, your body always lets you know, right? And so what can you do about it? We talked about setting boundaries. We talked about the power of delegation and sharing your work. But we also can look at things that are causing feelings of you becoming depleted. And that is things like sometimes it's important to disconnect from technology. Have
hmm,
some parts of your day or your week or your weekend, whatever that looks like for you, where you switch all your devices off and just remove yourself. Is if you don't reply
yeah.
to any emails for 2 days, the world is not going to come to an end.
When was the last
However,
time you did that?
oh, last weekend, genuinely.
Oh, that's right, because you never spoke to me. So yeah, that's not necessarily
Last
a good
weekend,
thing.
I had,
That's
uh,
right.
it's a short one, 48 hours, where I was not on any device. I traveled, I went away, admittedly, so I wasn't at home.
Mhm.
I didn't take my laptop with me. I had my phone just to check the flight formalities, but I wasn't in touch on social media or anything like that. And I used it as my time to unplug.
So what happened to you with that? Like, so what were some of the benefits of that? Like, what did that allow you to do?
It
I mean,
allowed,
besides the fact that you didn't speak to me all weekend, and that's okay, I'll be all right. But on another note, that was a negative aspect of it. But on on another note, what actually did you like? What? How did you find that helped you? Like, what did it cause to have happen for you? Not being on your phone all weekend, kind of cutting out that part of your life for just 48 hours, like you said.
Well, first of all, that trip was a trip for my husband and I to connect in a deeper, meaningful way. And I wanted him to feel that this trip is important. And I'm so grateful that we put the stop
Right.
button on our responsibilities, work responsibilities, family responsibilities to prioritize each other. So that meant put the phone away, right? And be really present. In being really present, I gifted myself to go into myself and be with myself and give myself that pause and rest that I needed, you know. And also, I went to an event that I wanted to be fully
Hmm.
engaged with the event and the participants present to experience all that I wanted to experience in being in a new location. I love to travel. I love airports. I love planes. It's crazy. I'm so inspired by the logistics around the movement of people. You know, like people might go
Yeah.
to Heathrow and be completely overwhelmed. I love to just sit and people watch and like, wow, all these
Yeah.
people with places to go. And I like the variety of life, noticing things that you wouldn't ordinarily notice, listening out to different things that you wouldn't be tuned into if my head is down and on my
Yeah.
device.
Yeah.
And then also, the plane is a great place to strike a deep, meaningful conversation with the person next to you. And as
Yeah.
coaches, people love the fact that they've got attention focusing on them, a deep
Hmm.
interest in where they've come from, their story, because everybody has a story. And I think it's a gift to have that encounter and to be fully present for that encounter and enjoy it for what it is. I may never see
Hmm.
these people again or never speak to them again, but it felt good to just be in the moment and enjoy the moment for what it was. And of course, to be well looked after in flight by, the crew and yeah, just be pampered
Exactly.
in that way.
That's so in that short period of time, like you were able to actually, get focused, a little bit of rejuvenation, although it was a pretty rapid trip. It's still like you still feel somewhat relaxed, right? Even though it was a kind of a rushed 10-hour flight there and back and stuff, but it was it was you were able to like disconnect, which gave you a little bit more ability to focus and relax, right?
As a busy working mum, and you ask any busy working mum this question, how would you feel if you had 10 hours all to yourself? Somebody's going to
I
come and ask
know,
you, what do you
right?
want to drink? What do you want to eat? Are you okay?
Exactly.
More blankets? 10 hours. All
I know,
right.
right? Yes,
That was
please. Yes,
luxurious,
please.
Kevin, for me.
I
So,
know. I agree. I know. I am like I take full advantage when I'm in situations like that, right? Like there, um, I think I told you once before, like my partner, uh, when we travel, the last time we were on a really long trip, we went to Vietnam and we were coming back. And I'm all about the service. I'm just like, look at the size of this menu. And I have 17 hours to go through all of
that was exactly
it.
me.
That's me, right? I'm just like, yes, please. I'll try the noodles now. Can I have a hamburger? I'll try this. Can I have fish? And they're just like, what are you doing? But it's like, I never get this. I never get that kind of service. So
No,
I'm
I
taking
don't.
advantage
So
of it all the time,
I
right?
make the most of it. And I also love watching movies in flight.
Yes.
Again, uninterrupted. And the fact that you're in that cabin space, I don't know, I
Yeah.
feel the characters more. I really get into it. And I listen with a different set of ears, like
Yeah.
what, how, like, what is the author trying to say, or what is the script about, or, you know, just relate it to my own life and
Yeah.
try to gain wisdom and how I can apply it to myself. And in flight also they have many audio things that maybe I won't dedicate 3 hours to listening to,
Yeah.
stand-up comedy or something.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think so we can find. So you asked me a question about how we can unplug. So devices is definitely something in modern times that is,
Yeah.
is a distraction. As useful as it can also be a distraction. I think it's also important to be really aware about the kind of people that you surround yourself with. There are people, there are conversations that just makes you feel depleted. You know it when
Yeah.
I mean, you might even
Suck the
have
life out of
anxiety
you.
going into the
Yeah.
conversation, and afterwards you feel completely whacked.
Yeah.
In periods of burnout, it's so important to surround yourself with people who are literally filling you back up again, who are
Yeah.
uplifting you, who are supporting you, believing in you, maybe even reminding you of your greatness. Because in times like
Yeah.
that, there's a lot of self-doubt, there's a lot of reassurance that's needed until
Hmm.
you can come back to the best
Yeah.
version of yourself or your full self again. And I think it's always of value to use that time to also look at what's working or what's not working. So how can I do
Sure.
more of take an introspection? How can I do more of what's working for me in life and in work? And how can I,
Hmm.
maybe redefine or reinvent or navigate around the areas that's not serving me? It might not be
Yeah.
serving you to be participating in certain meetings or conversations. How do I say no to certain invitations that even feel like a nice invitation, but
Yeah.
right now it's part of my priority list? I'm really focused on where I'm going. I think burnouts and downtimes, like we talked about previously about the seasons of life, is a time that is there to serve you and support you. If you don't get burnout, you're not looking at anything. You're just on
Yeah.
autopilot. So I also believe that there's a lot of wisdom and insights in your own life experience to draw from in periods of burnout, right?
Hmm.
We do things with either inspiration or desperation. Desperation can also be a great teacher to say,
Yeah.
right, thank you for bringing me down to slow down and to look at
Hmm.
things that I'm
Yeah.
not noticing. And
Yeah.
you
That's
go to
true.
work on yourself effectively. It's
Yeah.
also a great time to take a coach because it means sometimes burnouts is whispers of there's more to my current potential or
Yeah.
capabilities that I'm living, but I'm frustrated, I'm feeling burnout because I can't get to that next level by myself. That's a great time
Hmm.
to invest in somebody
Yeah.
who's going to work with you one-on-one, tuning into your strengths and effectively giving you the maps to be able to get
Yeah.
out of the places that you're feeling stuck. When we feel burnout, feel
Hmm.
stuck, we feel uncomfortable, like I know I can do something else or the next level, but I'm not
Yeah.
living. That repeated thought or not being able to manifest what is inside of you can cause burnout. So it's
Yeah.
a great time to partner with somebody like a coach or a
For
mentor
sure.
who
Yeah.
can support you and elevate you to that next place so that you can breathe again and
Hmm.
feel good.
That's true. And then I just want to go back because we were talking about, just chilling out and we were talking about being in airplanes and relaxing and chilling. And realistically, not everybody has an opportunity to do that. So I want to just give a couple of examples of what you could do to help you sort of, you know, zero in on yourself, even if like, if it's not too expensive, even spending a night in a hotel by yourself is amazing, right? But if you
Mm.
can't do that, this is where you got to get the support of your family and just say like, you know what, I'm going to stay in my bedroom for like 4 hours and I'm going to turn it into like a little spa and I'm just going to chill out and you're going to bring me some food and drink. Right, like get people to help you with that because you deserve it and you need to get away from it, right? Like if your husband's around or your partner, whatever, and you got kid, get them to take the kids out. Like just go out for an hour, just drive around for an hour. It's not going to hurt anybody, like, but it gives me that chance to just be me and relax and do it, like, take a bath, like soak in a tub, whatever, right? Like for me it's like I need scent, like smell, right? And I love like candles and stuff like that and burning stuff, but we found this kind of aroma thing from Aesop, which is
Mhm.
a combination of scent, and one little squirt, and the whole house will smell like that. And then, so when I'm by myself, it's just,
And it
so they
relaxes
always,
you. Look at what I have here,
yeah,
always on my
right,
desk. Lavender,
yeah.
lavender oil.
That's what I've got in my little diffuser right now, right?
I
Um,
have that
I
on the
love
house.
those things. But
Mm,
it's that kind of like you have to make a point of giving yourself that time. And it doesn't matter where you are. Make sure that people help you achieve that goal because you need it. And it doesn't have to be like you don't have to go on a vacation for a week. You just seriously need 4 hours of
yeah,
downtime, uninterrupted downtime to do whatever you want. Read a book, meditate, sleep, whatever. So just make sure that you're doing that and you are taking care of yourself. Um, I
Kevin,
think we've touched on all.
I just want to jump in there. A lot of busy mothers are always feeling guilt around taking time for
Yeah,
themselves. Hence, they
that was
lead
my
in.
next topic.
Hence, they lead into burnout, right? And as you are saying, it's very important to schedule some time to yourself, even if it's a little bit of
Yeah,
time, guilt-free, knowing that actually self-care is not selfish. You're
yeah,
doing that to come back
yeah,
stronger, to come back revitalized, to come back
absolutely.
energized for your family. I have a girlfriend who, she always felt guilty about taking time off. She didn't want to leave her children to her mother-in-law because her mother-in-law would question, why are you bringing your kids to me? What are you up to? And she would have to give her a reason. Oh, I'm working. I've got a meeting somewhere else just to get that 4 hours traveling
Mhm.
time extra. But really, she was
Yeah,
going to the cinema to sit and watch a movie and pamper
yeah, whatever
herself
it takes.
or whatever
Yeah,
it takes. So,
yeah,
um, ob- obviously, it's sad that you have to go through such lengths. Your family should support you and understand the importance of
yeah,
it. But I'm also saying this to highlight that there's so much guilt put on mums to be super women and to be able to
yeah.
handle it all. But it's a gift you give to yourself so that you can come back and gift your family.
Hmm.
It's your human right to be able to recharge your batteries.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
nobody gains when you end up in burnouts because there's so many
No,
health disadvantages around that. So give it to yourself. Give it to yourself first.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, like that was the next thing that I was going to talk about was like fear and guilt, like overcoming fear and guilt of doing that and taking care of yourself and fear that somebody else is going to judge you because you're taking a break or whatever. Just stop. Like the whole thing is about self-care and you and what you do for yourself and how you make things for yourself better. Because if you are not, and we say this all the time as coaches, like if you are not yourself healthy, well aware of what's going on and what's surrounding you, you are in no way capable of helping someone else. If you
Mm,
cannot take care of yourself, you cannot take care of somebody else.
mm,
It's just not, it's not mentally, physically, or logically possible for you to
mm,
do that. So you have to engage in self-care so that you're, just look at, we always go back to the example of being a parent, but it's like parenting is probably the best example of everything that could occur in your life, hands down, right? Like stress, love, companionship, creation, like all of those things. Like it covers every category. So, we do always lean back on parenting and what it's like to do that. But, the stress and pressure of parenting, the fact that everything that you say you're questioning. Everything that you do raising your child, you question, is this the right thing to do? Is it like if that's not enough pressure, and then go to some corporate job where it's a tad more stress on you, like come on, right? So you have to give yourself a break. You have to give yourself that time. You have to give yourself that ability, guilt-free freedom to take care of yourself and not worry about it. And I think that is like the utmost important. And it should be actually something that you schedule for yourself so that you know that you're actually going to do that and accomplish that.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So because it helps build resilience, helps build your ability to communicate better, to express yourself better, gives you that opportunity. Right.
Mm. Another thing also, Kevin, is which we're talking about corporate world and also parenting. The mother of all killers of joy is the comparison. The Maybe
Yeah.
this mom, she has a high,
Yeah.
she has a turnover of X amount in her job, and she's got 4 kids or 8 kids and bakes
Yeah.
them food, breakfast, and packs all their packed lunch. That comparison will lead to somebody else comparing themselves to another to be burnt out, trying to keep up
Yeah.
or trying to compare their reality. And I think we're all different. We're all unique. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses.
Hmm.
We all have our path. And this is a season of life where you have to be really unapologetic about designing a life that is
Hmm.
right for you. You know what you want, you know where you're going, and not to
Yeah.
compare and look at anybody else or what anybody else is doing. If you feel tired, if you feel exhausted, and your neighbor with the 8 kids and a big corporate job is not tired, it doesn't mean you don't afford yourself your rest. We don't get to know
Yeah.
everything what goes on in people's household, but
Yeah.
we're responsible for ourselves, and it's important to
I can totally relate to that.
give
Yeah.
yourself permission to rest. And, give
Hmm.
yourself permission to take a nap in the afternoon. We're talking about little recharges. Go lie down
Yeah.
for 20 minutes and see how your body
Hmm.
feels after a little rest. There's no point in keep pushing, keep going, keep looking at the same assignment or work
Yeah.
that there's no passion in you anymore to deliver the level of excellence that you want to. Sometimes
Hmm.
there's a lot of value in little tiny pauses, and listen to some soft
Yeah.
music, lie down, take a headphones, listen to a podcast that would just make you come back a bit stronger, stand a bit taller, feel a bit fresher, feel a bit more energized,
Exactly.
and let's go.
For sure. That comparison thing is really important to know. Um, I know when I first adopted my boys, they were like just 2 and 3, and they first went to daycare for a while, and then they went to kindergarten and stuff. And then I remember, all the parents lining up every day after school and before school, like bring your kids, blah, blah, blah. And these mothers were so perfect. Like, one, they go to school looking perfect already, which I'm just like, holy cow, how did they do that? And then, they have all these perfect little knapsacks for their kids. My kids stuff is like hanging out of their knapsack, different socks, different shoes, whatever. And then I'm like, how do they do this? And then they're like, oh, and then I remember there was this one mother, like every day she would bring like a whole container of cookies and goodies, like for the parents. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, how are you doing that, right? And then I thought, okay, I'm not. This is not happening. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be like this person, right? I just about killed myself. So much pressure, so much
Uh-huh.
time and energy. And my kids were not like, my kids are wonderful and beautiful and everything, but they were a handful. They were like a lot of issues, right? And I was trying to manage all of that. And then finally, this one father said to me, like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop, right? Just stop.
Trying to
Just be a
keep up.
parent."
Well,
Yeah, right. And I
it's,
was like, thank God.
it's the complete opposite here. Most parents at their school gates in their pajamas, some even in their bedroom slippers and dressing
Really?
gowns, no word of a lie,
Yeah.
like, and so
That's how it's supposed
any
to be.
anything goes in England. We're not so
Yeah.
well turned out, at the school gates, but
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I have tons of stories with that. Um, anyway, in just to wrap this up,
Mhm.
uh, so some of the things that, one, like, definitely, taking care of yourself, putting yourself as priority, taking a break, recognizing burnout, recognizing when you've done too much and you can't cope and you need to take care of yourself and deal with that, and take whatever measures are necessary to make sure that you're functioning fully, because you can't help someone else when you yourself are not helping yourself, right? So make sure that you take care of that. um, Taking breaks is vital, it's important, and we should all participate in that.
Mm.
What else do you have that you'd like to contribute to this
Um,
conversation, Amma?
what did you say?
I said, what else would you like to contribute to this conversation?
I want to remind anybody as a ritual and a practice to also factor in some play and fun and
Yeah.
creativity that isn't around taking care of kids or isn't around your professional
Yeah.
goals. It is just, I want to learn how to play an instrument. I want to learn how to bake like you.
Hmm.
I want to learn how to paint. I think as adults, when we're striving for greatness and success, it's all go, 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 go. And
Yeah.
it's important in that chasing and striving for more and excellence, which is fun, which is good, to factor in some creativity and a bit of play and a little bit of fun, that you do
Mhm.
something that brings you back to a childlike mode so you can feel the innocence of yourself and make all the chasing enjoyable. It'll also keep you connected to the reason why you're doing what you're doing, but without the pressure of going for your more, whatever that
Yeah.
more is. You feel it around playfulness, around creativity, around joy, around fun. It just takes the intensity of striving away, and you enjoy the process, because
Yeah.
it's not so much what you're going to get. It's all about who you're becoming in the process. And,
Mhm.
people can attain material things and still be very unfulfilled, very unhappy. And, we know of highly successful people who get to
Yeah.
the top of the game and end up in failure mode because you're there, but you're not enjoying it. The whole
Mhm.
point is to have fun, enjoy who you're becoming, and make sure that your passion is awake and your fires are on, not in a way that's burning you out, but in a nice cozy way. And I think it helps a lot to schedule some fun, play, and creativity into the
I agree.
mix.
I
Mm.
agree. And with that, thank you very much for spending another session with me. I really enjoyed it. And remember to check out this recipe for the millionaire bars that they're going to be
Oh
delicious.
yes.
Yeah, I know. So let's do that.
Can I make a request, Kevin? And I'm sure everybody watching and listening will be happy about this. Could you actually upload a video of you making it so that we can see it?
Oh, so much pressure. I think I need to take a break.
Yeah, we need to see it, right, guys?
I
Who
will do
wants
my
to see
best.
it?
Yes, I will do
Put the
my best
comment
to
if
do
you
it.
want Kevin to make a video.
I will do it. Actually, I will. I'll
Okay,
try and put it together tonight and then just
link it.
attach it to this video. All right.
Okay.
So
Oh,
we'll do that
great.
for
Thank
sure.
you.
And yeah, so once again, great spending time with you as always, I really appreciate it. And we will
Thank you.
see you soon and we'll see everyone else soon. And take care and have an amazing rest of the week. Cheers.
Take care, guys. If we don't see you again before the holidays, happy holidays.
Oh, you will. You got to see it because you're going to see my millionaire bar.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, there'll be another one.
Such a short
Bye for
memory.
now. See you next time.
See you guys.